Morning, everyone. It's Joe Waxman, and I'm back with another video. This morning, I would like to look at the chart of singer, songwriter, dancer, world-renowned artist James Brown, the godfather of soul. I used to listen to James Brown a lot, and he, he's a founder of the musical style funk. He's one of the originators, probably the originator, I guess. I mean, I'm not an expert on that style of music, but I did, he does write great music. I'm not that much of a musical guy anymore. I'm more like an ex-musical guy. I don't really listen to that much music anymore, but he is one of my influences, one of the guys I used to listen to a lot. Definitely a very interesting character, certainly. James Brown, 3rd of May, 1933. That's a lot of threes there, 333. Maybe he's some kind of Masonic 33rd degree Mason. I don't know. 12:10 p.m., Barnwell, South Carolina. All right. Never mind the outer transits. I could get rid of them. Doesn't really matter. All right. So right away, we can see that his ascendant Lord Sun is in the 10th house in Taurus, conjunct the MC. Conjunct Venus. Venus is in domicile in Taurus, and Venus is combust, but Venus is quite strong being in Taurus. I mean, right away, this is such a strong signature for anyone who's going to achieve, world renown, world success, being on the world stage for everyone to see. That's such a prominent sun for an artist. Taurus rules beauty, rules arts, rules creativity, rules the senses, rules the most, refined sense of taste. So any type of artist, musician, sensory type person to have their sun in Taurus, conjunct the MC with a Leo ascendant. I mean, that's really powerful, especially with Venus being right there. Yes, it's combust, but that's not always such a bad thing. I mean, it does damage Venus, but it gives the sun this enormously wonderful Venusian quality. It really, I mean, I have sun conjunct Venus, and one of the downfalls is that it can make you a little bit lazy because you're infused with Venusian qualities. You become very Venusian, very artistic, very, Taurian, sort of Libran. You want to have fun. You want to enjoy yourself all the time. It's a very indulgent quality. It makes you very happy, good-natured, and you just want to be Venusian and lay around all day and just, be beautiful and, happy and not a care in the world. But fantastic for, what James Brown did, being a musical artist, being seen by everyone, and it's his ascendant Lord. So it's like, yeah, extremely powerful combination right here for somebody like James Brown, world famous artist, musical artist. Moon also is in Leo, basically about 6 degrees in the first house from the ascendant. Also extremely powerful. The ascendant, the angles are the most powerful houses, obviously, and the ascendant is the most powerful. The ascendant, the MC, the descendant, and the IC. So Moon in Leo with its dispositor here, it's incredibly powerful. Moon on the ascendant gives a person a very, it's like their heart is, wide open for everyone to see. So it makes them lovable, right? Because, if somebody has a guarded heart, a moon in the 12th or the 8th or the 4th, you're not going to really see it. And they're going to appear kind of cold and sheltered and closed off. But here it's in Leo and it's right in the first house. It's like, wow, hard on the sleeve. Like he's not holding back. Like you're not gonna have to guess what James Brown is feeling. You'll feel it, right? And if it's good, if he's feeling good and he's pouring out good vibes, you're gonna feel those vibes, and you're gonna feel that way about him. You're gonna feel good about him. Of course, the opposite is true as well. If he's in a bad mood and he's feeling abusive, I think I've never encountered any person, but just reading his Wikipedia page, he was abusive too. So that's also quite possible because he's not going to hide. That's not to say like a hidden moon can't be abusive as well, but it's just he's not going to hide anything with Moon and Leo and this close to the ascendant in the first house. Mars is also in the first house, but out of sign in Virgo, 3 degrees Virgo. It looks like it's right next to the moon, but it's actually over here. It's conjunct the south node, which is also conjunct Neptune and Jupiter. So it's kind of a stellium here with south node. And remember, south node gives skills and talents from early childhood that we're born with, basically. Some say from a past life. That can't be verified. All we really know is that we're born with it. These are skills that we are born with. Mars is ruling the 9th house and the 4th house. So 4th house indicates early childhood success. Not necessarily early childhood success, but it's saying early childhood because this is where we look for how we grow up, early childhood. It's going into his first house. Mars is like skills, and 9th house is philosophy and religion and higher education. So like he was a gospel singer, right? It's in his first house, but it's second sign. So it's starting to influence, and this whole stellium is moving into his second house. So it's starting to influence his voice, or as strongly influencing his voice. His first house, but then coming into the second house. So it's all pouring over into the second house. So like gospel voice, early childhood, right? Mars rules aggression and masculine, like war, activity initiating stuff, but also skills, mechanical skills, the whole body, muscles, technical ability, things like that, and influencing the second house. Definitely going to have a strong influence on his voice, saying that from early childhood, he's going to be able to sing, right? Because it's tightly conjunct the south node. And with Neptune is the ruler of creativity, arts, things like that. It's the co-ruler of Pisces. So we're bringing in some 8th house influence here. 8th house is a malefic house, but it's not all bad. But definitely 8th house here would point to not only creativity in the arts, which we see in music, but 8th and the 2nd can, especially with Pisces and Neptune, let's say other people's money, potential criminality. And we know that he's had trouble with the law throughout his life, from early on up until later time. Also, Neptune rules drugs and alcohol, and he did have issues with drugs and alcohol throughout his life. Jupiter is also the co-ruler of Neptune, Pisces in the 8th house cusp. So we're bringing in a lot of these influences here into first and second house. So second house will deal with his assets. First house will deal with him. Second house is voice as well. Intellect, knowledge, speaking, knowledge, speaking, and assets, wealth. So anytime when eighth is mixing with the second, there's a potential or a tendency or a desire to want to take shared resources for your own resources. Another way of looking at that is theft, stealing. And that was definitely an issue for him. He had issues with the law, with taxes. That's also an 8th house issue. The IRS was after him for, claiming that he owed them money. So all that. But Jupiter, Neptune, South Node, Mars, these are all influencing his voice, bringing in a strong voice. Okay. Now, Mercury rules the second house, and by the way, Venus is ruling the third house of expression, right? That's important, and the 10th house, obviously. So expression, third house is going to the top, going to career success, world recognition. Second house is going into the 9th house of Aries, conjunct Uranus. This is excellent for intellect, by the way. His mind was like, you know, Mercury rules the intellect, and Uranus rules awakening and like big picture, like it rules rhythm, number one, because it's just so present in the here and now. It's like bop, 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 you know, like drums, like here, I'm here, I'm here, you know, it's like, it's that rhythmic nature. And because it's not referencing the past, it's not referencing anything emotional, it's just like now, 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 now. So that's why rhythm is very Uranian quality. And Uranus conjunct Mercury gives a very active, brilliant mind, right? And in Aries, that's also good, because Aries is a yang sign. It's good for the intellect. It's good for logic and just you know, having straight head, you know, mechanical ability, because ruled by Mars. So this is a lot of where his funk inspiration is coming from. 9th house also rules philosophy and religion. So we know, like, he was a gospel singer early on, but also because 9th house rules beliefs and how we hold, how we view our worldviews. This was also influencing his musical style, believe it or not, because 9th house is trying to the 5th house. 5th house is a house of creativity. So this is like a higher 9th house. It's also 5th from the 5th. So this is a higher 5th house because 5th house is also education. They're both fire houses. So like a higher level of creativity can be seen from the 9th house. And a belief system, not just for like life, but also for music. So like he's creating a new musical style with these 9th house planets here. Not only that, but it's square Pluto in Cancer in the 12th house. This is a very creative Pluto, because 12th house rules, one of the things 12th house has to do with is creativity in Cancer as well. And Pluto has a very deep creativity because it's twisting and turning. You know, it's death and rebirth. The rebirth is a creative act, right? So there's all different kinds of creativity, you have to realize. There's not just one creative. It's not just like, look to, you know, Venus and Taurus, or Mars and the Sun, or I'm sorry, Leo and the Sun, or Pisces. They're all different kinds of creativity. Cancer is very creative, 12th house creative. Pluto has a certain creativity. And here is transforming his belief system and his musical style. And there is a very high sophistication with the 9th house. And I think we do see that in his music. There is a very high level of sophistication in his music, even though, you know, funk is not like, I mean, it's dance music, so maybe it doesn't get considered as like classical music might be considered, but there is, you know, it is very musical, very high level, and especially if you're creating that style, that's also a very high level activity. It's one thing to just, you know, copy somebody else or do a variation on somebody else, but if you're originating it, that is a very high level invention type thing that I think does come out of the 9th house. So I think that's here. Pluto definitely transforms it and changes it. So he's going to be, his belief system, his higher mind is going to be transformed through effort and hard work and all that. The square indicates hard work, and Pluto transforms it. But this is very much funk. You know, Uranus especially, Uranus and Mercury and Aries, like very rhythmical and very just like bam in your face, like bah, bah, you know, like wow, like all the screams and screeches and just like intense, because Pluto and Uranus, remember, they came together in Virgo in a conjunction in the 60s, and that was the revolution. That was the hippie revolution. right? So Pluto and Uranus are very revolutionary together. And, Mercury fits right in with that, especially with Uranus. Uranus is considered a higher octave of Mercury. So it's like the intellect is very high, it's very strong with that. And that with the funk, you're not getting overly emotional. You're getting like just something very rhythmic and hard and in your face and like really good dance music. I'm not saying that he couldn't be emotional. I mean, like I said, Moon is in Leo in the first house, and then Sun conjunct Venus and Taurus. It's all very emotional and sensorial. There's a lot of squares here. I mean, this Venus squares Saturn and Sun, and this is showing a lot of problems with authority. Saturn is in Uranus. Here also we see a lot of funky, vibes because of Uranus. Because of Aquarius. And Saturn is the co-ruler of Aquarius. Aquarius is that uniqueness, that out of the box weird quality that funk definitely has a part of. I'm not saying that's all of the defining qualities of what funk music is, but definitely Aquarius fits right in with the funk. Uranus is the co-ruler of Aquarius, so we see that there. But the square is intense. That shows a lot of problems with authority. And he definitely had that, definitely rebellious, difficulty in relationship because Venus rules relationships. He was married numerous times, and he was abusive to his wives, beating them. I heard he kicked the pregnant woman down the stairs. So definitely not a savory character on the personal level. We can see that there in his own, running from the law issues, law problems. Saturn is the law enforcement, so squares to the sun. Also, he was kind of hypocritical with his own authority in that I understand the reasoning for this. He was very strict with others, with his band members about no drugs or alcohol, while at the same time doing drugs and alcohol. So he was an exception, and that's where the square comes in. It's like not integrated. So he could be authoritarian for others, but at the same time, he was averse to the rules that he imposed on others. And there's also inner conflict with the Sun square Moon, Venus square Moon, relationships, indulgence, sort of an internal hypocrisy, an internal dysfunctional relationship where he's at odds with himself and, is making rules, not following them, being overly indulgent, and just having internal discord. Moon opposite, it's kind of a little bit of a wide opposition. Moon opposite Saturn, again, it's a big T square, really. Chiron's even playing in there. So I guess he was on and off with the fans. He sometimes was an outcast. He was sometimes rejected by his own fans for his political views, for just his reckless behavior. So that's probably how Chiron is fitting in with, being in the 10th house, squaring the moon, wide square, but still square. Also conjuncting the Sun and Venus in a wide berth, but still influencing that. There's still some issues there with being rejected, not fully accepted. But it probably gives him a lot of empathy as well. And he was, despite his meanness and hypocrisy, he did try and help people. He was an advocate of civil rights and the Black movement, and wanted to help, the Black community, and he wanted kids to stay in school, and he spoke about that, and also to stop killing each other, so things like that. So definitely a nuanced individual who was not all good or all bad on a personal level. He could be quite mean and abusive, but in the bigger sense, he was definitely caring for his community and wanting them to do better. So North Node is in Pisces, so As he got older, he's becoming more spiritually oriented, more Piscean, but also more potential for drugs and alcohol, and less into his skills and his talents, because that's a lot of where this is coming from, the Mars and the Jupiter. Jupiter is ruling the 5th house as well as the 8th house. So, a lot of creativity is coming from Jupiter in the 2nd house here. Neptune as well generally can rule arts and creativity. So yeah, the North Node is taking him away from his skills and his early success. Mars ruling the 4th house, but it's probably making him more spiritual in a sense. But it's a toss-up, because the drugs and alcohol probably got worse as well, which is also the negative side of Pisces. And he did have more trouble with the law because it's activating the 7th house and Saturn here. But Saturn is in Aquarius, so it's a mixed bag. Definitely a mixed bag. He had a very long career, over 50 years, one of the greatest performing artists of all time, blah, blah, all that, because Saturn, 7th house, Saturn, it's 10th from the 10th, and it is aspecting the sun and the career house. So it gives him a very long career. So yeah, also Pluto in the 12th is quite destructive in general. Never mind the square to Mercury and Uranus. Pluto in the 12th is often seen in criminals because they're in the subconscious, and it's causing them to be destructive if they're not accessing it. What it really needs, Pluto in the 12th, is a lot of spirituality, a lot of meditation, a lot of spiritual practices, because that's what it wants in the 12th house. Otherwise, it'll make a person very destructive. I have Pluto in the 12th house, and I have to meditate a lot, or otherwise I'll just be, hell on wheels, smoking and drinking and causing chaos. I don't do that anymore because it's just a recipe for disaster. Anyway, that's James Brown. Doesn't have any unusual things going on in the declination or house or planet speed. Jupiter's a little bit slow, so that's good. That's good for his voice and his creativity in general, and his philosophy, his belief system, his luck, all that. His wealth, so that's pretty much it for James Brown. A legend, and great musician, godfather of soul. All right, guys, if you like this stuff, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share. If you want me to cover anyone, do a mini reading for any celebrity, let me know in the comments. If you want to book a reading, go to my website, macroastrology.com, and I will see you again soon. Thanks. Bye.